All right, now we're going to talk about the fundamental counting principle. And this is just kind of a principle that explains how you can find the total number of possible outcomes when you have an event, okay, or a compound event. You could use the tree diagram, but when you have lots of different possibilities, the fundamental counting principle is actually going to work the best, okay? So the fundamental counting principle is simply when you have an event, let's say it's event M, it has M possibilities. So if I roll a dice, the number of possibilities is 6. Okay? If I have another event, maybe let's say flipping a coin, we're going to call that event N, or the second event. It has N possibilities. Flipping a coin would have 2. To find the total number of outcomes, instead of making a tree diagram and counting all the different branches, I could actually take the number of events for the first event and multiply it by the number of events or the possibilities for the second event. So it would be 6 times 2, which means there are 12 possibilities. I could roll a 1 and get a heads, roll a 1 and get a tails, roll a 2 and get a heads, roll a 2 and get a tails, etc. Okay? So the fundamental counting principle simply states that an event M, like rolling the dice, has M possibilities. Notice I have the capital M for the event, lowercase m for the number of possibilities. Or I'm sorry, number of possible outcomes is what I meant to say. Okay, so an event M has M possible outcomes. And then we have an event N, capital N, has lowercase n possible outcomes. Sometimes those could be the same number, and sometimes they'll be different. If I was rolling a dice and flipping a coin, they would be 2 different amounts. If I was rolling a dice twice, it would be the same amount. Okay? So what I'm saying here with the counting principle, I can take the total number of outcomes of event M, followed by event N, is simply the number of outcomes for M, which is lowercase m, times the number of outcomes for event N, which is lowercase n. And that is the fundamental counting principle. So let's try it. Example 2. Find the total number of possible outcomes. To find the total number of possible outcomes of rolling 2 number cubes. Okay? So we have to think about that. If we have 2 events, we're rolling 2 number cubes. Event M is rolling 1 number cube. Event N is rolling another number cube. So if I'm going to use this fundamental counting principle, I have to think of those 2 events. How many possibilities are there when rolling a number cube? Well, we know that there are 6 possibilities. I'm going to multiply it by the number of possibilities for the second event. Well, event N is rolling a number cube. How many possibilities are there for event N? Which are 6 again. There's 6 numbers. So my total number of outcomes would be 36 outcomes, or possible outcomes. Using the fundamental counting principle, it allows us to get our answer a little bit more quickly than having to draw out our tree diagram like we did before.